Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everybody, and this is the first session that we are having together. My name is Dr. Muhammad Ali Zaidi, and I hope I am audible to everybody. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So the topic for today, which has been given to me and which we'll be discussing is coronavirus disease. And as you know, the current scenario world over and even in Pakistan, since it's a pandemic, so it becomes very important to discuss such important issues which have diverse consequences from local to international to world over. First of all, we need to know what is this coronavirus disease or COVID-19. You must have heard people saying that it is a pandemic. When we use the word pandemic, we need to understand what is a pandemic. There are a few things which are terminologies which are specific to the medical world and which may be referred to as pandemic, epidemic, or endemic. The word pandemic means a disease or a condition or an infection which is present all over the world. It is called pandemic. Pan means everywhere. And epidemic, as you know, epidemic is localized to a certain region. And endemic becomes when a disease becomes prevalent within a region. And off and on it goes, off and on it is called. Here we are not concerned with endemic or epidemic here, we are concerned with pandemic because this coronavirus has become a pandemic now. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes, the word corona, okay, that is a very different word. When we were studying, we used to have this corona word keep on coming in medical terminology, and this word corona means crown or something related to crown. You must have this heard this terminology before as well, corona, which attributes to the crown. So the appearance of this virus, it is pretty much like a crown. It has little projections over it. It is a round virus. It has little projections over it, which makes it the morphology similar to a crown. So the word corona comes from there. This is a whole family, the corona family. All the viruses in corona family, the shape is like a crown, and that's why this is called corona. Next, please. All right. So when we talk about viruses, what are viruses? This is the session I would have enjoyed, or we would have enjoyed more if it had been a real session, not a computer one. I would have asked you, it would have been a more intellectual kind of session. What is a virus? What is a bacteria? What is a fungi? So viruses are the smallest living organisms. They have very, very tiny existence, and they have this genetic material which is called RNA. Virus is sometimes it is called non-living organism because it only has RNA, no DNA in it. You must have heard, you must have studied somewhere else as well that every microorganism has certain DNAs, but viruses, they usually have RNA. Some of them have DNAs, but some of them are RNA based. So this is an RNA based virus, and the morphology, as I described earlier, it is like a crown. You can see that it is from the slide, you can see that it is a crown like roundish ball like appearance. It has RNA inside, and then it has the membrane of protein, and it has a membrane, and over the membrane you have protein on it. And these proteins are used for the attachments Whenever a virus enters a host, these spike proteins or envelope proteins, they are used to get attached to a certain cell where the virus goes, and virus affects the cell. So when we come to the structure, we have RNAs, we have spike proteins, which are critical for binding of host cell to the receptor. In this case, receptor cells would be the human cells, and the envelope proteins which interacts with the M form to the viral envelope, which is actually the outer the covering of the virus. And then you have membrane protein, which is on the outer side, the small projections. So next piece. Next slide, please. So the coronavirus, or CoV, the CO stands for corona, V is for virus. It is an enveloped virus, it is an RNA virus, it is zoonotic origin. Zoonotic means that it is derived from animals. That animals can be birds, that animals can be fish, that animals can be bats, that animals can be of any. Zoonotic origin means it is actually derived from the animals, and then it is transmitted to the human beings. And it infects mammals and birds. As I said, birds in this case would be mammals, or birds would be the bats. And then there is a family of 7 coronaviruses which actually affects human. Out of this family of 7, there are 4 coronaviruses which are called common flu. जो हमें normal flu हो जाता है, या जो normal हमें बाज़ दफ़ा seasonal flu जिसको कहते हैं. So the 4 are of that origin. And they used to be very lethal at one stage, but वो अब इतने ज़्यादा फैल गए हैं कि they are no more that much lethal, and they are called common flu. And every season we get them, every season we recover from them, so it has become a mundane affair. They cause very mild symptoms, they are self-limiting, and they cause limited respiratory tract infection. When we talk about the other 2 coronaviruses, they are very, very, very lethal. They are very dangerous, other than the earlier 4. And these 4 are called SARS-CoV, MERS-CoV, or SARS coronavirus 2, which we call as coronavirus nowadays. So the SARS was initially, we had an outbreak of SARS in 2003, 2002, 2003, and it is also said that, and it is also believed that it also came from the birds, and it also caused severe respiratory symptoms, severe respiratory diseases. And then you have this MERS virus, which is also a family of coronavirus. This is Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, and it is believed that it came from the animals. Camel was involved in this. So it was there for a brief period, 2012 to 2013, and it was limited to Saudi Arabia. What happened then? The weather changed in Saudi Arabia, the weather conditions got a little hotter, and then this MERS died on its own. So we were lucky in this, that the SARS and MERS, they didn't spread that much as this new SARS coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2 is spreading. So this SARS-CoV-2, what is the difference between SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19? SARS-CoV-2 is actually the name of virus. SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2. And the disease it causes is called COVID-19. 19 stands for 2019. It is pretty much analogous to the condition that we have when we say AIDS. AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and it is caused by HIV virus, human immunodeficiency virus. So the virus is different, and the disease it causes is named separately. So the name of the virus is SARS coronavirus 2, and the disease it is causing is called COVID-19. Next, please. Thank you. Okay, as I said, there were 7 coronaviruses we discussed. 4 of them were innocent: the common flu, the common cough, the common flu virus, and the 3 were lethal. So out of those 3, one was SARS-CoV, which was there in 2003. As I told you, it came from Bex. You can see on the slide on the left. See the similarity between you saw the coronavirus, the present coronavirus, the shape of it, and you can see in this slide the shape of the other SARS virus and the MERS virus. See, it's almost similar, you know, just like the brothers you have from same parents, they are similar to each other. So they are also brothers from the same mother. One is a little different from other, but they are similar. So as I told you, SARS came from bats and MERS came from camel. So the coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that are known to cause illness ranging from common cold to more severe diseases such as MERS and SARS. 2019 coronavirus or COVID-19 was identified in Wuhan, as you all know, China. This is a new coronavirus that has not been previously identified in humans. I was reading an article, you know, people like Bill Gates who have been tracing these pandemics and epidemics and have been associated with their remedies. They have already been, they were, I think, back in 2018-19, they were already predicting an upcoming pandemic condition like this. And this coronavirus or this COVID-19 disease was found in bats. The virus similar to it was already found in bats in 2018. And Chinese experts, they believe that somewhere in like 10 years, it would cause a disease. And now we see it coming much earlier than we had predicted earlier. In 2019, identified from Wuhan. Why Wuhan? Wuhan had this live animal markets where live animals were hunted, they were brought in, and they were not slaughtered over there. They were slaughtered in front of the customers. So the live animals, they brought in the viruses spread to other animals, the viruses spread to human beings, and it became a problem. Next slide, please. So the first report on 31st December 2019, an alert was issued for the cluster of pneumonia patients in Wuhan, China. 4 cases of pneumonia of unknown etiology reported. Etiology का मतलब होता है कि origin. People were having pneumonia. Nobody knew where it was coming from. There were no signs of bacteria over there. It was a mystery, perhaps, unknown etiology. So the WHO named it as 2019 novel coronavirus on January 7, 2020 and renamed after genomic sequence, as I told you, SARS-CoV-2. SARS-CoV-2. The disease it causes, as I already discussed, is called COVID-19, coronavirus disease 2019. Next slide, please. We are going through the, you have to know the basics of the virus to know how it spreads and everything. So the 3 human coronaviruses produce symptoms that are potentially severe. We already discussed MERS, SARS, and this SARS-CoV-2. This is again something which we have already discussed. So you see, there is a difference. I mean, from this epidemiology, you can appreciate that this MERS, it caused deaths of around 858 persons, and the SARS was 774 deaths. But this SARS-CoV-2, it is still causing the deaths. This number was taken, I think, a few weeks back, perhaps 1 or 2 weeks back, but the number is increasing. So the fatality rate, you see the fatality rate Fatality, what is fatality rate? If you have 100 persons infected with the virus, how many would it kill? This is called fatality rate. So the fatality rate of MERS virus was 37%. Fatality rate of SARS virus was 9.20%. Fatality rate of this new COVID-19 disease, SARS-CoV-2 virus, is 5.3%. So if we see, there is a very interesting fact here. You must appreciate it that the MERS was the most lethal one. The fatality was 37%. The SARS was 9.2, second lethal, and this is the least lethal. So why is it causing so much deaths? Well, there is a catch in it. You see, for a virus to survive, it should be highly contagious and less fatal. Less fatal, why less fatal? Because highly contagious, of course, it would be transmitted from one to another person. It makes sense. Highly contagious virus would be surviving, thriving more in the world. But when it comes to the fatality, as the rate of fatality grows, the survival of virus, it decreases. Why? Because when it affects a person, there are higher chances that he dies or he gets sick. When a person gets sick, he restricts himself to the house or his home or a hospital maybe. So the spread is controlled. However, when the symptoms are not that severe, person goes out, person meets people, and attend churches, congregational prayers, so it spreads because the intensity of disease is not that much. That's why we see that when the fatality rate or the intensity or morbidity rate was 37%, it was limited to Saudi Arabia and it was controlled. It was 9.2%, again it was controlled. However, when it became to 5.3%, it is not being controlled, it has been declared as pandemic. There is a very critical balance that it has established, this COVID-19. It is contagious, yet it is not that much fatal. So that's why it is spreading. Then one reason is that it causes asymptomatic disease as well. People are getting infected, but they are not reporting it, and even they themselves don't know that they have this coronavirus. So what happens that they are walking, I would say, fountain of coronavirus, and they're spreading it all over the place, and without knowing that they are themselves affected, and they are spreading it to the others. Next slide, please. Okay, now we have a comparison of SARS, MERS versus this COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2. You see that the fatality rate and RO rate. RO is the average number of people who will catch a disease from one contagious to another. You see, the RO rate or the contagiousness of this COVID-19 is 1.4 to 5.5%. While on the other end, if you talk about MERS, it was less than 1%. RO factor was less than. So this means that MERS was less contagious, more fatal. That's why it was limited. On the other hand, this coronavirus or COVID-19 Corona 2 virus is less lethal, less fatal. 3 is the figure for the fatality percentage and having a higher RO number. So now you can see the difference, and now you can appreciate the difference. You have other examples here as well. For example, HIV. HIV has the very high fatality rate of 80, but RO rate is of limited 2 to 4. So it is not a very good choice to be the pandemic. This COVID-19 presents with the critical or the classical symptoms to make it eligible to be a pandemic, and it is a pandemic for that reason. Next, please. As I said, started from the local seafood market, known to sell live and freshly slaughtered hunted animals, bats, snakes, anteaters. Next, please. Now we talk about WHO response. Initially the Chinese hired this thing, they hid it, and they didn't let other know about it, and it was located